Nah, y'all really care? Y'all really sat here and submitted some questions and y'all really want to hear my answers? I could really do a Q&A video? Y'all care so much. Thank you.
This moment is so much bigger than me.
Greetings, good day, and welcome. I'm Deanna, your favorite project manager, and today we're gonna get into a little Q&A that also celebrates my 2-year work anniversary. If you don't already know, I have officially been a project manager for 2 years. I officially hit my 2-year mark on September 1st. And because most of my videos are inspired by you guys, I wanted to dedicate my 2-year anniversary to you. With that being said, I opened up the floor to anybody to literally ask me any questions that you had in regards to project management, being a project manager, etc., etc. So let's see what you guys asked me and what my answers are. Question number 1, what industry do you work in and what types of projects do you manage? First, to you and anybody else new here, welcome to the party. Glad to have you here. Secondly, specifically, I am a project manager of development. I focus on all things related to fund development, stewardship, fundraising, external affairs, and strategic partnerships. Typically, my projects really focus on generating creative, innovative, and efficient ways in which we can go about the grant management process and structuring what those processes can look like for each grant-focused project, if that makes sense. Basically, if a project is talking about a grant award, how to get a grant, where to find a grant, how to best manage our funders, all that stuff, that's me. That's for your girl. If anyone has no idea about what grants and development is, what that looks like, what it can feel like to work in this space, of course, I have a video dedicated to that, and it is the best grants and development video you'll find anywhere on the internet. So go watch it. Question 2, happy anniversary. Thank you so much. How do you get over feeling like an imposter on your first project? That's a good question. First and foremost, imposter syndrome is a vicious little I definitely think, even outside of project management, that little voice in the back of our heads that tries to tell us that we are incapable or we cannot can happen in any space. And it's very unfortunate that we all have to deal with it. But the way I have dealt with it and how I have not allowed it to deter me from my professional goals and just improving as a project manager, first and foremost, I listen to the facts in front of me and not that little voice in the back of my head. And when I say listen to the facts in front of me, I mean when I look at my work history and my experience, when I look at the successes of my projects, when I look at how much money I have brought in and how many grant awards that I have accumulated over the last few years, I try to let those facts speak louder than the little imposter that's trying to sit in the back of my brain. I always have to continuously remind myself that I am doing a good job and there is a reason why I am here and why I have been successful. And that is literally all on paper. I have numerous grant agreements that says, congratulations, you have earned such and such money for such and such organization. Congratulations, we have continued to give the organization that you're working for money because you have done X, Y, and Z, and we are satisfied with said results. So I am very intentional and reminding that little imposter, I know you keep telling me that I can't and you keep telling me that I am incapable, but the facts in front of me are telling me otherwise. And don't get me wrong, that little voice, she's still loud. She be yelling in my head all the time.
Beet juice in the house. This is your brains on drugs.
But like I said, I be telling her, look at the facts. Look at everything that I did. You gonna sit here and tell me that I can't when I have been? Cut it out. And for anybody watching and that little voice is yelling at you, let me come here, little voice. Come here. Stop it. Get out their head right now. You are a liar. You are a thief. There is nothing that you can do to stop this person from doing everything that you know that they are capable of, which is why you're trying to remind them and try to be in their head acting like they can't, because you know how great they're gonna be. So hush, little imposter voice. Hush. So that's number one. Number two, when I first stepped into this role as a project manager, though I had experience working in grants and development, I made sure that I asked questions. I did not want to step into this new role. I didn't want to take on any projects. I didn't want to dive in to any project immediately before I got some just clarification on things. Because like I've said time and time again, prior to 2 years ago, I did not hold the title of project manager. That was a new role for me. Even though I was doing similar work, I was in a new space, a new role, a new title. I did have newer expectations. So to not freak myself out, I just asked them like, well, what do y'all want? For this first project, what is it that you guys exactly want from it? What are you seeking? What how can I say? What any gaps might be missing in regards to executing this project? I asked a lot of questions. So that way I would be just much more confirmed in my role and what I'm doing, and that those questions allowed me to be much more confident to do my first project as a project manager. And with asking my team questions, it just either A, gave me clarity on the project at hand, or B, confirmed that I was going about something the right way, or now I can shift it and change it and make edits and updates so that I can eventually lead myself to go about it the right way. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Question 3, how do you get people to listen to you without them eventually resenting you for being bossy? I have the hardest time with this. First and foremost, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. But I've said it before, I'm gonna say it again, and I'll probably mention it in numerous videos after this. But first and foremost, to not be labeled as being bossy, you need to avoid micromanaging. If you are being labeled or seen as bossy, there is a high chance that you may be accidentally practicing micromanagement. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're being malicious. It is a fine line between keeping your team on task and micromanaging, and sometimes you might be put on a team where you have to pester them to get stuff done, and now they looking at you like they bossy. But the real thing is that if I'm not pestering y'all, it seems like the work is not going to get done. So it's a lose-lose situation. I've talked about how much of a hater I am of micromanagement.
Hater alert! Hater alert!
And how unproductive being a micromanager actually is. The solution is never, ever, ever to be a micromanager. Any team that you are working on or any team that you are leading, the first thing that you really want to do, and I think the most important thing to avoid that bossy label, is to really build trust. When you take the time to really build trust amongst your team and show them that you trust them to get the work done, naturally they'll listen to you more because you trust them, and that makes them trust you. Usually when people just see that you have given them the task, you gave them the deadline, and you're not on their ass consistently to hit that deadline, and you are giving them the, freedom to show you what they can prove and show you that they can get X, Y, and Z done, then you won't be labeled as bossy. Or so I assume. That is what has happened with me, so I hope that also happens with you. But in those instances where maybe trust is not enough, maybe there have been numerous occasions where one or two of your coworkers or people that you are leading are not doing what they need to get done. To further avoid being labeled as bossy, I want you to take the time to set up systems that remind people more than you are reminding them. When I say set up systems, I mean have a project management software established so you can add tasks and deadlines and such accordingly. And 10 times out of 10, those PMSs will have automations that you could set up to send out people reminders of when a task is due. For example, one of the places that I consult at, we use Monday.com. Monday.com has it where you could set up notification that goes out a week before something is due, 2 days before something is due, a day before something is due, etc., etc. However, because that system is in place, it's not me on people's like, oh, I need you to do this, this, and that. Why is this not done? The system is already telling them that. The system is the thing that's reminding them consistently and sending those emails and stuff. So not only is the bossiness not coming from you, but that's also easier on you because you don't have to consistently be on somebody's. And if there are any overlaps, if anything is missed, if those particular individuals on your team are not doing what needs to be done, you already got the receipts laid out that shows they got plenty of reminders. They was told plenty of times that this and that was due then. And, you know, you trusted that they would get the work done. You trusted that these reminders and stuff that were set up was going to get the work done. Unfortunately, maybe it did not, and you gotta reevaluate some people that are on your team. Hard facts. Hard facts. And lastly, don't be afraid of being labeled as bossy. As I said, there is a fine line between like micromanagement / being bossy and just making sure your team is on task. When you take a step back and you analyze, it's like, am I really being bossy? Is me sending a follow-up email really being bossy? Or is this coworker a little bit hard-headed? Like, sometimes being bossy is unavoidable. You have to be on people, but usually building a little trust and setting up systems and stuff to say all the reminders that you don't want to have to keep saying will help you and your team. Question number 4, what is the biggest feeling you get like a lot? And I'm not gonna hold you. I don't know. I'm really not sure how to answer this question. If you mean like in general, the feeling that I get working as a project manager on a regular basis, I can say it is a mix between anxiety and motivation. I say anxiety because there's always something to manage. There's always something to check off. And in my particular line of work, I don't know what video I talked about this on, but several like grant awards and applications and reports and stuff that I have for multiple donors overlap with each other. So I am constantly keeping up with things and tracking things to make sure that the overlaps don't mean that something is missed. So like, you know, I be on my toes sometimes. That can cause a little bit of anxiety because in some instances, I'm just like, whew, okay, I can take a breather. But then like, I really can't. And now I'm back trying to do all the things and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And also, I am a type A personality individual. So I am an over planner, an overthinker. I am always thinking like, or attempting to think like 5 steps ahead of certain stuff. I plan out stuff very particular. I can even like, if you needed a bobby pin, I could be like, hey, actually look upstairs in my 3rd drawer under that white t-shirt that has that spaghetti stain that never got out, and you'll find a bobby pin. So sometimes being that level of organized is a really good thing, but sometimes the feeling that I get is anxiety. But on the flip side of things, there are definitely way more instances where I am really motivated and passionate doing the work that I do, that the anxiety can never shake me from doing it. Yes, I am managing a lot. Yes, there are a lot of new systems and processes and such that I am putting in place, but I would never step away from the work that I am doing. I am literally able to do work that is getting passed down for generations. I am building stepping stones for young people who look like me, who have similar backgrounds, who have continuously been told that they are not good enough, that they won't be capable. Just because you grew up in the hood or in a bad environment or have had particular circumstances and such that you had to deal with, a lot of people tell you no. A lot of people have told me no. A lot of people have defined me from where I'm from and how I sound and how I look and how I talk and how I act. And it's, again, motivating to prove those suckers wrong. And for me, especially working in grants and development, I have dealt with a lot of rejections. I don't know how many times, I can't even count for y'all how many times a funder has told me No, we're not giving you money. No, we're not supporting your program. No, we don't think such and such is going to be successful. And I did not let that stop me. If anything, I used those moments as a time to learn, to understand, and reflect. And it has now given me the success that I am experiencing now. So the feeling that I get a lot, like I said, anxiety, but more motivation / passion. Question number 5. I've been watching you for a little while now, and I think I finally have the guts to ask, may I please become one of your mentees? If I'm remembering correctly, you're probably like the 3rd or 4th person that has asked about a potential mentorship. First, as a full-time project manager, as a part-time consultant, and as a content creator, I feel like I would not be able to commit how I really want to you guys that are seeking a mentor. And I would be devastated if I lacked in being like a good communicator and stuff, just cause like I got a lot of shit on my plate. I can't even lie. I got a lot of things to do. I never, ever want to make promises that I cannot deliver on. And like, if you're seeking a mentor, I want you to have someone that can give you exactly what you deserve and what you are seeking.
I've soiled the good Krusty Krab name! Soiled it!
But because I have been asked multiple times, I am now really taking the time to step back and explore ways in which I can engage with people and connect with them on a much more personal level, and not just like in the comments or responding through videos and stuff. Like I have been thinking about it. I've been thinking about maybe, I don't know, starting like a Discord or something. Discord is also a little bit confusing to me. But something, a platform or where I can engage with people much more, that people can ask questions and I can give real-time answers and responses, and not just like via email and such like that. So I have been thinking, I have been trying, guys. I've been really trying to level out and maximize my time so I am able to potentially mentor. So just stay with me. I am trying. I promise. I'm not saying no off rip. I'm saying just give me a little time. I'm gonna figure it out. If anybody has any suggestions on maybe how I could go about this, let me know. Question 6, which books and resources did you read to influence and engage with stakeholders for collaborative meetings? First and foremost, book questions are my absolute favorite questions. So thank you for asking about books. And now, of course, I do have a few suggestions that I think you should add to your bookshelf or check out from the library, find on Kindle Unlimited. However you read, add these books to yourself. First is Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High by Carrie Patterson, Joseph Greene, Ron McMillan, and Al Switzler. This book in particular really focuses on strategies for engaging in difficult conversations, which is really a crucial skill if you are somebody looking to improve how you engage with your stakeholders. Second is Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. I think that's how you say his name. This book has been labeled like a classic when you are trying to understand the psychology behind influence and being able to really take a step back and get into the mind of your stakeholders, which again, really vital. Third, which is definitely one of my faves, and honestly, I might reread it, but it's The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. The titles and authors will be in the description, because y'all know I can't talk. Y'all know. But this book highlights the common challenges that you may face when working with your team and how you can go about overcoming that, which is extremely useful when you are trying to manage and engage with your internal or external stakeholders. Fourth is Getting to Yes, Negotiating Agreement Without Giving In by Robert Fisher and William Irv. One of the skills I definitely took for granted at first when engaging engaging with stakeholders is the practice of negotiation. Typically, when you are dealing with stakeholders, not all of them are going to have the same like mind or priorities and such. And this book really takes the time to show you tactics and ways to go about negotiation so you can come to a better consensus with those differing stakeholders. Last but certainly not least is The Art of Facilitation by Dale Hunter. This book really focuses on the role of facilitation in meetings and offers you practical strategies of how to best lead your meetings and connections and such with your stakeholders. And it offers you practical strategies so that the meetings that you are having with your stakeholders foster collaboration and teamwork and making sure that you're getting to solutions. As a resource, and it's something that I still utilize to this day, but look at things on Coursera and LinkedIn Learning. Coursera, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know the last time I used LinkedIn Learning. I know that when I was first getting into project management, I was definitely heavy on LinkedIn Learning, and they had a lot of free resources and such to offer and a lot of different courses. But Coursera, anything that you could possibly imagine about stakeholder engagement, stakeholder collaboration, and stakeholder anything, go to Coursera. Go to Coursera right now, actually. You could pause this video and go check it out and then come back to watch the rest. Question number 7, love to see an example of a project from start to finish, including the software used. This is another question that I've definitely been asked several times before, and I have been really trying to figure out how I can best record so you guys see the work that's being done and how I am utilizing the software. But I also have to make sure that what I am sharing is appropriate. In my line of work, it is, how can I put it? Confidentiality is like a huge thing. So with a lot of our like grant awards, the agreements that we have reached with funders, certain aspects to reports and such that I am doing for the funders and on behalf of the organizations that I am working for, there is a ton of information that I am not allowed to share, and being able to adequately illustrate to you guys how I use these softwares and stuff is hard because it's a lot of stuff in those softwares that I could lose my job over if I were to show to you. The grants and development world is really strict, and these agreements that we have are, again, a lot of them I cannot make external, and if I were to share my screen on certain things and such, the information that is in there, I could get into a lot of trouble.
You shout like that, they put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing.
And also, a lot of the projects that I am working on last for months. When dealing with funders, when I am applying for the grant application, that doesn't take as long. That might be a few weeks, but that would not allow me to really showcase you guys how the software is utilized. It's really the next step where I am getting the grant award on behalf of the organization and how I organize that information. That which I can't show would be what would really show you guys how the software and stuff operates. I hope that makes sense. But with this question, funny enough, one of the grant agreements that I have with a funder for the organization that I am representing is winding down, and I think I'll be able to share some stuff, so stay tuned for that. But don't worry, I've been thinking about it. It's a little hard, but I've been thinking about it. So as soon as I am able to show you, I promise I will. Question number 8, do you think someone with no prior management experience could land a project coordinator job? P.S. I love your editing, got me cracking the up, LOL. First of all, thank you so much. I know, like, you know, you be rewatching your own videos and stuff and you laugh, but you're not sure if like other people are laughing as well. So I'm like, thank you. Thank you for seeing my humor, and thank you for understanding it, and thank you for laughing.
And what does that make, ketchup?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But to answer your question, first and foremost, are you like 1,000% sure you don't have no managerial experience? Like none? I'm not sure when the last time I talked about this. Besides grants and development, the other, let's say, longest standing job that I had was working in coffee shops. I have been officially working in the grants and development world for, I want to say 6 years. 5 or 6 years now, maybe approaching 6 years. But as a barista slash like shift manager slash working in coffee shops, I worked in coffee shops and stuff for 9 years. I want to say maybe from 16 to, shoot, it might have been longer. 16 to after graduating from college. So it might have been like 10 years. Yeah. I was working in coffee for dumb long, y'all, okay? But like I was saying, when I was in college, I did become a shift manager at a coffee shop. However, even prior to that, when I looked at the work I was doing and I'm like, organizing like our inventory and like going through our orders, I'm like helping with the schedule, things like that, little things that you may not think are important or may not qualify of having like any managerial experience or management roles. They actually do. Even beyond like a professional setting, there are probably instances where like, let's say for example, you are in college or even high school, you were on a basketball team, football team, whatever type of team, you were a team player, you helped the coach like put together plays and such, etc., etc. Like for example, I was on a step team in college. I helped put together like a lot of our shows. I did a lot of the teaching and organizing, making sure that all the girls on our team were always like on point and such. There are so many things that might account for managerial experience that you don't consider it, but it is. But if you go through your experience and like your past roles and like any teams and such that you've been on, and you can't see how you were a manager or a leader or taking like the initiative on certain things and stuff, because you say project coordinator role, you may not need managerial experience. Now, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen, typically at a coordinator level, you still have somebody that you are reporting to. You still have someone that is managing what you're doing and such. Yes, you are taking on much more responsibilities, but there's still that level of, like I said, reporting that you are doing and somebody managing you, not you necessarily managing anyone or anything. You will be maybe the head of stuff and you could take the lead on certain things. That train, do y'all hear how loud that train was? Like, that's so rude. Like I said before I was rudely interrupted, you may not have to have managerial experience to step into a coordinator role. And I hope that makes sense. And last but certainly not least, question number 9, would you say a PMP is necessary for becoming a project manager? And funny enough, when I saw this question, I was already working on a should you get your PMP cert video. And the simple answer to this is no. I don't think you need to get your project management certification. I mean, I don't have one and I am a project manager. But like I explained in that should you get a PMP cert video, it really depends on your background and your experience. For me, I was able to take a lot of the work I have already been doing. I was able to take prior roles and such that I had as a manager of grants and development and translate that into a project manager of development. So if you are someone who has leadership experience, who is a good problem solver, who is a good critical thinker, and all those elements that come with being a successful project manager, you may be able to tweak and tailor your resume to show that you have project management experience and that you will be successful as a project manager without ever thinking about getting a PMP. However, on the flip side, I do think it's very beneficial for people to get a PMP cert, particularly if you do not have project management experience, or if you're recognizing like any gaps in your resume or gaps in your experience and background that a PMP cert would fill in. So if you see gap and you know a PMP would fill the gaps, then you should definitely get one. But if you were someone like me and you're like, I don't think I need one, I fill in the gaps pretty accordingly, then I say wait to get a PMP. I say wait to make that decision because maybe you ultimately don't even need one. Again, look at me. Oh, would you look at that? All the questions have been answered. You made it to the end of this video, so thanks for watching.
Sometimes goodbyes are a bitch.
T-shirt idea. Goodbye stink.
As I say time and time again, these videos are inspired by you guys. So if anybody has any questions, any topics and such that you would like me to dive deeper into, please make sure to leave all of that in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, bye y'all.